Welcome to another episode of the Politrickkks As Usual Podcast. Today I have a very special guest. Our second take, we can tell him it's our second take. I have Weatherman Cube, News 12 Weatherman, and meteorologist, because I will not make that mistake again, with us today. And so we want to talk to the community about just your pathway, how you got there, how the decisions you made to become a meteorologist. And for myself, I told you before, I personally don't know anyone with a meteorology degree.
Yeah.
And that's not something that was so common in my community. So we want to highlight you, bro, give you some light, and just hear your story a little bit. So where you from? That's first and foremost. Where you from?
I appreciate that. Right next door from Westchester County, Greenberg, 914. It's a smaller town, borders White Plains. People might know that. Yonkers, Mount Vernon. Those type of cities are what make Westchester County. So part of Greenberg is like right next to White Plains, which is 20 minutes from there.
Did you go to school out there?
I did. I went to high school, Woodlands High School, which is in Hartsdale, which is another city that borders me.
I know Hartsdale.
Yeah.
I don't know how in Hartsdale, but I knew Hartsdale. Did you play any sports?
Yeah, I was big and feisty a lot bigger. I used to like football.
Really?
Yeah, I was solid. Like my peak, I was like maybe 220.
What position?
Inside linebacker.
Wow.
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy. If you didn't get that the first try. So you were wow, that's different.
See, I kind of like that was kind of something I wish I would. That was like kind of my first
passion.
Yeah, like I wanted to play football.
So you still could do things in football, though. You don't have, you still could diversify, maybe coach a team or maybe sponsor a team and get involved with football somehow. But that's cool. I didn't know that. All right, cool. So we spoke about you going to school to study to what I call a weatherman, but it's much more encompassing than that. What do you have to do to land on television, given the weather?
Funny, I didn't think I was going to go into TV for it. I know we opened up with meteorologist as that being the title. Being a meteorologist means that's what I got my degree, atmospheric science, what I went to school for, upstate New York, Albany, City, Albany. Shout out to the Great Danes, really good education. But I always tell people like how I got into it was I was watching the Weather Channel one day, and the forecast was supposed to be a blizzard. Blizzard didn't happen. I was thinking we didn't have school coming up. Nice snow day.
Oh my God, those like the worst nights. Like the night before, they're like, "Yo, it's gonna be like in the morning," and you get up, there's no snow, bro.
Bro, that's what it was. Woke up, no snow. It was cloudy, but the flakes and stuff didn't start till like later on in the afternoon. Like the blizzard came, but we still had to go to school.
Right.
So I was just trying to figure like why was that the case. Right. So like a lot of times, like I was thinking of cartoons and stuff, but like I was literally watching the Weather Channel.
Wow.
Early.
So you put the pigskin down. And you come from practice football practice. You say, you know what? Click on the Weather Channel.
I was watching Weather Channel after school sometime. Yeah, after practice.
That's interesting. So atmospheric science, right?
Yeah.
What else does that encompass? Is that is that all weather conditions, like earthquakes? Because when I hear like atmosphere, I'm thinking like rain thing, but an earthquake, those are plates moving around.
Yeah.
So would that still fall under the category? Like, are you predicting earthquakes, or that's somebody else that was?
Not too much. That's a little different kind of science that falls under geology, for example. We touched on a little bit in our courses. But to answer your question, oceanography was a course I took. Of course, you take your earth science. Then there's what's called synoptic meteorology, and that's when you really start to get into the atmosphere. Well, one class that I think a lot of people they appreciate it. Like they weren't really into meteorology or science. We took a natural disasters course, and that was big because that affects everybody, despite what fields you're in. You think of tornadoes, and hurricanes, and all the damage and money that it costs. A lot of people got to see the insight of how all of those storms and those weather phenomena came about.
Did you play any football in college?
Walked off for 1 year, but that was it. Scholarship money.
But you were serious about football when you played college.
I was in the gym. You know, college, 2 days, some days. Yeah, so I was out there. But the scholarship money wasn't there. And for meteorology, for those that are interested in like getting into that field, when you go to school, it's a lot. Like it's a lot of studying, a lot of time.
It sounds like a lot more science than anyone would ever really know. I always was kind of the mindset that the weather was part of television production. And then you're like, then all you gotta be is an attractive guy, and they'll give you, what you gotta say. It's gonna be 75 today, or attractive woman, or whatever. It's gonna be 75 today. It's gonna rain here because the machines did all the work for you, and you're just presenting. That's what I thought until we spoke.
So the answer, you're not wrong. A lot of bigger networks, they will have what's called a weather producer or another meteorologist who are kind of putting all the graphics together, doing most of the research, and then they will have somebody who's just out there.
So you're doing that.
But for us, smaller station, we're doing that. We're going in an hour and a half beforehand, especially on a stormy day if there's storms coming in.
So you're doing dual role?
Yeah.
You're the guy behind the data, and you're presenting that.
And then there's what's called the digital meteorologist. So when you think of TV, a lot of things are switching to online. Everything is social media and so forth. So a lot of our stuff we start to do, whether it's for the website or for social media and so forth. So there's more than, like you said, there's more than one hat. Now we're digital meteorologists instead of just on-air meteorologists.
I want to speak about the storm chasing club. So I know I'm familiar with the guys on the ground in cars chasing storms. Yeah, I guess gathering data.
Yeah.
But you had mentioned about another data collection way of getting data for storms.
Yeah.
So what was that like? What was that?
Hurricanes. So it's what they call hurricane hunters. I'm a meteorologist. And that's the other thing with meteorologists. Like when you go to school to get that degree, you get different jobs. It's not just on TV.
So you could fly, you could fly into a storm. You're qualified.
Not
a pilot, but
not as a pilot, but so yeah. So right. to continue on with that, it's not just like two people. Like you got a couple of meteorologists, some that don't really fly or they know how to fly a plane. They're in the ship as well. It's like these big military planes. Mm-hmm. They're named actually. It's pretty cool. But they actually fly into storms, hurricanes. Mm-hmm. And what it is, they'll drop down and they'll drop some radars or some sonars, what they're called. They'll drop them into the storm. They're like these kind of small missile-looking things, and they capture all that information within the storm. Mm-hmm. And that information gets sent to us down here on Earth, and then that's how we kind of let you know, oh, listen, you gotta make a move. It's a bad storm that's really going across here.
Would you ever do that? Would you ever chase a storm?
Absolutely. So Twister the new Twister just came out,
really excited. The old one was crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah. The new one's pretty dope too. But you have people maybe not even studied science at all. They're just really excited. You get groups who'll just go out there during the springtime out in the Midwest and down toward Tornado Alley, which is called Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Tennessee, those places. And they'll go out there and just try to find storms just for that kind of work.
So I see, so we talked about the last Emmy now, but I see you're up again.
Yeah.
For another Emmy nomination. So let's talk about the Emmy stuff and the Emmy work, the work that you're doing that would get you nominated for Emmy.
So the Emmys, I know everybody thinks of big TV. It's a little bit different when it comes to news and sports news. And it's kind of broken down in different regions of the country. So for our Northeast region, we unfortunately we didn't get it for last year, and we actually went out to JFK Airport, and that's where we learned all the hurricane hunter things. But for this one, it's cool. It's just about getting yourself ready for winter. If you're driving a car and you lose control, how do you balance the vehicle and try to regain control of maybe a slick or icy path? So I had a part in that. And collectively, the team at News they just did a great job, and we are up for an Emmy. And what it is, you just get judges. Again, we're based in different regions, so it's not biased. You have somebody out in the Midwest looking at our content, and they're judging, all right, listen, we like this.
What is the criteria? Is it what makes one piece more compelling than another piece?
It's kind of broken down into different categories. So for this, you'll have this is a short piece, got a half hour or less. It's a little bit long. You got a longer piece. But you'll have different ones, maybe something that has to do with history. So if it's the anniversary of the song, so that might be the category, or how weather affected this region. Then you may have, if you look at how did this story maybe impact this local, or you might have a story that impacted things nationally. So those are kind of the different categories that they're broken up into.
So more stories just around the weather, but actual story just around the weather. I get it. So I told you when I had my barber when you came over there, said he was so elated with the fact that you was actually weatherman. He didn't know because you had called me. He was like, yo, I need a barber last minute. I get out and I was busy or whatever. And when he saw you, he's like, yo, he called me like, yo, that's the weatherman. I'm like, yeah, that's the weatherman. So how does that feel, or how does that impact you, or what does that look like when you're outside in your day-to-day life? I'm sure people run up on you all the time.
It's cool. It's like supermarket's a big place. I'll run into people that saying, weatherman. Sometimes they want to take a picture, which is cool. Sometimes they're like, New 12. So it is pretty cool. During the school year, our job was just out to talk to kids, which is probably my favorite part of the job. But just talking to them, they get excited. It's like, our parents watch you every day, or we see you on TV. So I guess just having a little impact on the community, they get kind of excited and happy. So I enjoyed it. It makes them happy. So that's the plus side to the job.
Yeah. So my last guest was a state representative. So like yourself, he's very known.
Okay.
And he was saying that when he would go out, sometimes he put disguises on. So nobody would recognize him in the grocery store.
During the pandemic, that was me. I would make sure I have my mask.
That's funny.
Throw some sunglasses, maybe a hat. Because sometimes, I mean, I've never been rude, like, and even if they did recognize, I always stop it. But sometimes, you just want to kind of be in your own world and just.
My daughter loves you.
Yeah, she's like,
she knows you. Yeah, she knows you when I know when you go. But let's talk about the classroom work you're doing. I see you often in classrooms, engaging with the kids. And obviously that's something that I'm big on, getting with community, kids. So what is that work that you do with the classrooms?
Oh, about twice, maybe sometimes 3 times a month, what it is. We would just go out to schools, talk to the kids, anywhere from kindergartners to high school. What it is, but what I found is a lot of the school system, like, they're really talking to them about what. So, like, they kind of have great questions to ask and just being able to answer them. Sometimes they kind of surprise me. Sometimes I learn from them little different things. But what I learned is just something that they'll always remember, which is pretty cool. And, who knows, 10, 15 years from now, we got a new meteorologist here taking care of it.
The one thing about impact is you never know how you're impacting somebody until like way later. I have a teacher of mine, a 4th grade teacher of mine, who impacted me in like such a way. I don't know if she knows, but she does know because I told her.
Yeah.
But we still in communication. But I'm sure when she was teaching in that 4th grade classroom, she had no idea that she would impact me in this way. That here I am, 40 years old now, still speaking about my 4th grade teacher. So the work you're doing, they'll absolutely remember you, and it will absolutely shape their thoughts. One of the experiments I used to love doing was those experiments like a cold heat system, whatever we did, like a Pepsi bottle in the rain. Like I love doing that. Like, would you want to do that in here? We get some kids. Would you be willing to come do like maybe like a weather experiment? Or
yeah, we'll do it. Like, so when I do visit the schools every once in a while, sometimes I'll pop up a little experiment here and there. Kind of correlates with the weather sometimes with what's happening today or right now. But yeah, we always do that.
That was my favorite. I loved it. I just loved it.
But see, like you said, I guess you said it made an impression.
Right, trust me, you don't know, and that's what this work is. Like this, a lot of this work you're doing, and of course to you it's career, it's me, it seems like it's career. But a lot of times you just a vessel and you're moving in spaces and you make an impact, and we're making an impact, and you don't even know the impact you're making. You think you're just doing weather, or you're just doing your life. But some kid is like, man, I want to be like him. We just did a book bag giveaway where we had the fire department there, and it sent us a black firefighter. I mean, he was part of the engine company that was up the hill for me, but I was proud and happy that they got to see a black firefighter because representation matters. So for kids to see you on TV, on television, I'm sure it's very inspiring. For them to see you also in their classroom, I'm sure it's very inspiring. But it matters. So the work you're doing matters outside of the work you think you appreciate that. So I appreciate that work. Is there any other work that you may be working on, or things that you may be doing, or things you may want to do in your career field, or pivot, or anything like that?
I really do enjoy talking about the weather. Like I tell everybody, the only downside, at least for me, my schedule is just trying to go to bed at 7:30, disciplined because I got to be up at 3:30.
So you get there. What time you get there?
I try to get there like 4 o'clock.
Get there at 4.
Got to go live at 5, ready to go.
My grandma, if my grandma was here, she would have caught you at 5. That was a 5 a.m. woman right there watching the news. Oh my God, every single day. So you get there at 5 and
then, it's not too bad. I get the rest of the day to myself.
It's an awesome schedule. Here you are right now, free to go. It's a great schedule. But that's cool. And so again, part of this program that I have here is just giving information to my community, information that I think we should know about the spaces that we're not in enough.
Yeah.
And 2 is just representation and just showing us that we can aspire to be other things outside of what we think we could be or what we're used to seeing. So you represent that for me. I thank you for that.
Yeah, no doubt.
The fire department, they represented that for me as well. I just want to keep giving the community information and inspiration.
Yeah, but no, listen, I love what you're doing. Yeah,
I'm trying my best. So that's all we do. That's about it. Yep. That's all we got, brother. So
yeah,
You gonna wrap this up, John Cubit? Thank you.
That's it. Weatherman Cube, all platforms.
That's right. Weatherman Cube. Make sure y'all follow Weatherman Cube. He's not a weatherman. He's a meteorologist. Don't play. He's not a weatherman. He's a meteorologist. Wait, one more question. I do have a question.
Yeah.
All right. So, last question, Thomas. When you see the forecast, you go outside without your umbrella. How do they make you feel?
Get caught out in the rain. Usually I'm good. That only happens maybe if I'm on the golf course. Which I don't mind if you
I gotta get out. I'm gonna meet you at that golf course. Maybe not this year. I think when's golf season though? I think I missed this.
Man, listen, the winters, the way they been all mild.
Really?
We've been playing until December.
I think I'm gonna catch you out there this year. I think so.
Listen, you gotta do it.
All right, thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, bro.